Just a quick one before we dive in. I've just opened up 2 brand new ways to work with me. If you're an established beauty professional who's ready to increase your revenue, either in your clinic or by moving into the online mentoring and educational space, you can join me for a 2-month container where we build and validate your first online offer or your next big move. Or if you're ready to go all in, there is a 7-month private mentorship where we build, launch and scale your new revenue stream together. If you're not sure which one's right for you, I'm offering a handful of free business clarity calls, quick and powerful to map out your fastest path and to see which container fits best. Just DM me the word revenue on Instagram or check the link in the show notes and email me. Let's get into the episode.
Welcome to the Beauty Build podcast with me, Zara King. As a coach for beauty pros, it is my mission to help you earn more, work less, and create an unstoppable mindset. This is the show where we explore all of that. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting your beauty business, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and join us on the journey. And for more, get yourself inside my private community, The Beauty Build on Facebook.
Hello and welcome back to another episode. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate every single one of you that tunes in. Today, I really want to talk to you about something that I'm really passionate about. I'm passionate about most of the things that I talk about on here, of course, but being the 1% is something that I must have learned, I think, probably in 2019, 2020. I was in the middle of growing my beauty business because I'd quit my full-time job and I had brought in a product line alongside my beauty business, and that was like a network marketing product. And within that community of people that I worked with, I started learning about more personal development, and being the 1% came up with that type of thing. And I have always wanted to do things that others won't. I've always been the person that if something comes up and I need to get something done, people will tell me, if anyone can do it, you can do it. Because I've had this crazy sort of determination all my life. I think where I was horrifically bullied at school, in secondary school, I was always like, I'm still strong and I'm still going to give as good as I get. And the mentality was always to prove myself right, to prove others wrong, to always be strong and keep going. And it was always a case of, I will do that anyway. So I've always had that kind of thing in me, which I think we all get pulled to what we are being, don't we? So I think that's why I attracted these type of people into my life. And that's why I attracted the network marketing scene into my life at that time, because I am that type of person that will go out of their way to get something done. And that is a lot of the case with network marketers. I mean, I don't love network marketing. I can do another episode on that if you're interested in my thoughts on it and how my experience was with it. But I brought this product into my beauty business and it was so freaking good. But that's not what this episode is about. This episode is about what it taught me regarding the 1%. But I want you to know that's where it came about in my life. I learned from books such as The Slight Edge, which we're going to talk about today, and Relentless. And I had people around me who were the 1%. I think when you are in a place of selling and you're in a community where you are the people that are like, we need to get this done, and we're going to go out there and put ourselves out there to get this sold. In network marketing, some people are relentless. And that's where the book came in. So that's where it came up in my life for me back then. Good few, sort of 5 years ago, I would say. And what it's all about, the 1%, is all about the small things. And we can touch on Stephen Bartlett's 1% Diary. I've spoken about it on this podcast before. He's got his own branch of planner/diaries, and he's focused it all around being the 1%. I had that diary. I loved it. And I will get it again. But at the moment, I'm using the productivity method, just in case you want to know what I'm using. But it's all about the tiny things creating big success, like wild success. And I'm a firm believer in it. And I wanted to do a full episode on it because I think that when I am focusing on being the 1%, when I'm focusing on being better every day, I'm so much better at business, so much better at life, so much better as a person, actually. I'll go as far as to say I'm a better wife and a better mum and a better sibling and a better daughter and all the rest of it, but a better friend. Because when you focus on those small things, you really do get much, much, much better over time at all sorts of things, at every aspect of your life, depending on, of course, where you're really focusing on. But I think it all has this knock-on effect, and that's the whole point of it. But it's one of those things where these small daily shifts for that long-term payoff can be really easy not to do. So it's almost like the secret that everyone's looking for, but they're not actually willing to stick to it. You know, it's these little things that you have to do on a daily basis that are really sometimes quite mundane. And so you know you've got to do it. You know it's going to push you further in 5 years' time, but you don't want to stick to it today. It could be selling every day. You know it's a big thing. You know you've got to show up and do it. But because the results feel minimal at first, you don't do it. And so it's really easy not to do. And it's those things that I want to talk about. So it's nothing to do with being in the top 1% of earners or top 1% categories in business and things like that. It's actually being the 1% of the population of people who will actually follow through to doing the things they've got to do every single day over a period of time to see that long-term payoff. So I want to just read you the blurb on the back of the book by Jeff Olson, The Slight Edge. Now, this is my favourite book. I can honestly tell you, I love this book. In fact, I lent it to one of my friends, Mia, if you're listening. I don't think she listens to this podcast. But Mia, if you're listening, I would like my book back. I've asked her for this book back about 10,000 times. And I'm past asking, so I might just order it again. But it is such a good book, and I would suggest everybody reads it. So the blurb on this book says, "The Slight Edge is a way of thinking that enables you to make the daily choices that will lead you to the success and happiness you desire. Learn why some people make dream after dream come true, while others just continue dreaming and spend their lives building dreams for someone else. The Slight Edge is not just another self-help tool for traveling the path to success. It is the doorway to creating powerful results in any area of your life by using tools you already hold within you. The slight edge," this is a quote, this bit here, "the slight edge makes you aware of the unwritten rules that we all live by and just weren't aware of. Jeff explains these principles in an easy to understand manner that will have you reevaluating those insignificant decisions you make every day." That's from John C. Maxwell. The next quote on here by Ken Blanchard is, "Success in life comes one day at a time, and as Jeff Olson suggests, one step at a time. The Slight Edge will show you how your daily decisions can be the ultimate key to your success." There are a couple of other quotes on the back of the book, but that is the main couple. That is the main synopsis for you there. That's the blurb. And what it really is, when you think about the 1%, and that is what this book is helping you be, right? It's helping you be the 1% of people that, in fact, the book may talk about the 1% of people. I can't remember what it says inside the actual pages because it's been such a long time. But the overall synopsis of the book gears towards being the 1% of people that will do this stuff over and over again. It's consistency. And because the consistency is what gets you the results, it's why people drop off. And that's what moves you to being the 1% of people, because 99% of people will drop off when you're telling them to do one thing every day slightly better, or you're telling them to do a small habit, but stacking those habits and telling them to do 3 or 4 or 5 things and building these small things out every single day and getting better at them every single day. That builds your success. But because it can be mundane and because the consistency has to be strong, people drop off. And that's why only the 1% of people in the population are the ones that will succeed and that will continue to push it to that next level. So if you want a book that supports this idea of getting you to becoming the 1%, get The Slight Edge. I promise you, it's such a good book. Now, I have said it before and I will say it again. It is not one big thing that will get you to the success that you are looking for in your beauty business. It wasn't just one thing that I did that got me fully booked. It wasn't just one thing that I did that got me earning 4 figures a week. It wasn't just one thing that I did to stop clients messing me around. It was overall my consistency with small things that I improved upon for a period of time. So that is why I want you to really get this inside of you so that you can learn to improve every day, and also not to get disheartened when you don't get massive results from one big thing that you try to do in your business. The reason why most people don't do these things, and the reason that it's only the 1% of people that get to where they really want to be, is because we live in such a massive instant gratification era. We're in this place where there's a massive dopamine problem in our society. People want fast results. They get that dopamine hit and they're happy. They get that viral reel and they think that's amazing. They have, a big month and they think, wow, that's amazing. But they don't have the big habits that support them. As in, they might have a big influx of clients. They might have a big influx of income. Say I had a 10K month one month and I was like, wow, this is amazing. But what if my habits weren't supporting that? Okay, so really and truly in my business as well, there have been times where I've given up probably too soon on certain things that I've tried. And then I've probably kicked myself later on. I've had clients that will jump into a program. They've been in a few programs, but because they don't actually habitually get on with strategy and they don't track things for growth and they hop from program to program, they do not get to where they want to be. And they will consistently blame strategies or other people or the outside influences in their lives instead of taking radical responsibility of their habits and being the 1%. Because being the 1% means doing the hard things and it means doing the boring things that do work instead of chasing these little exciting things that distract us all the time, these little things that give us a dopamine hit. I know you know what I'm talking about. I know you've started something and you've not finished it. I know for a fact you've not tracked something that you really know you should be. You know you need to know those numbers, but you're not tracking them. I know because I've done it. I've been there myself. There are times now in my business where I do not love tracking. I don't love it. And I will do it and then I won't do it and then I'll do it and then I won't do it. And it's taking that radical responsibility. It's knowing when I'm on my game and knowing when I'm off my game. And trust me, I know when I'm off my game because it affects not only my business, but it affects my personal life. It will affect my energy. And if you know me, you know I'm big on energy. And so if I'm in bad energy and that's what I'm attracting, it's the first thing I notice. I'm like, I'm in crap energy. I need to look at myself. I flip it straight away and hold a mirror up straight away. Even if somebody is giving me grief, I flip a mirror up and I'm like, what's my energy saying? What am I committing to? Where are my patterns? So I know that you're not doing these things. I know that you're not reviewing stuff or there's been something that you should have done. I know that you've decided to stop something because it felt uncomfortable and it felt hard. I know that you've done those things. So if you want to be in the 1%, you have to learn to consistently, when you realize you're not, get back up. Get back up again and start acting the way you want to act to be back in that 1%. This is what I do. I'm not perfect. I'm not here to preach to you or act like I'm the expert in absolutely everything. But what I'm here to do is like hold that mirror up to you as well, because that's what actually keeps you going. It is all about being aware, having these things in place to be the best version of yourself, i.e. the 1% practice, the slight edge practice, but knowing and having the awareness to go, I've fallen off, I'm going to get straight back on. Because that is what you need to do. It's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing practice because we don't just do it once. We actually need to live in the 1%. Now, the Jeff Elson book, The Slight Edge, is all about the habits and building up that slight edge and being that bit better. The 1% method and being the 1% and the 1% diary from Stephen Bartlett, if you like, is about getting 1% better every day. So it's about deciding what you're focusing on, picking the 1% within that focus. And this is why I love that diary actually. So you would pick sort of 3 goals to focus on for 90 days. And you would then, within those 3 goals, go through and really nitpick and think, well, what are the small, tiny little 1% actions that would help me towards that goal? And you would just commit to doing 1 to 3 of those 1% every day. And those small habits would compound your mindset. It would compound the income, the business. It would compound over time for your life, even though it's really simple things, But because you're focusing on them and you're putting them into action and you're doing it and you're getting 1% better every day, you end up being miles ahead. And actually, if you improve just 1% every single day for a year, you would be 37 times better by the end of a year. If you carried on going at the rate that you are now and you were just plodding along, you would be where you are. But if you get 1% better every single day, that compound effect is massive. And the other book that I mentioned at the beginning of this episode was a book called Relentless. And that is by Tim Grover. And in that book, it's not about the 1% as such, but it is about having the attitude and the mindset for really extreme success. So this author has trained legends like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, people like that. And it is a bit on the athletic, it's in the athletes side of things. That's what he did. And what he does is he gives you these really actionable steps and insights. And it's such an easy read. That's why I really enjoyed it. And he articulates how to have this relentless attitude to achieving your goals. And in my eyes, it was one of those books that led me to being like, yes, I am wanting that. I want to be the person that will be, if you like, relentlessly responsible. I normally say radically responsible, but responsible for my habits, being in the 1%, being that step ahead. So that's another really good book that I wanted to mention in this episode, because it's so good in the fact that it will show you what those essential traits are of elite people, elite competitors. If that's your bag, if you want to read something like that, go for it. And I think you'll really enjoy it. But when it comes to living in the 1%, and you're probably thinking, let's get back to beauty. How does this all relate to grow my beauty business, Sarah? Well, you need to start living in the 1% and like these people that want to be very freaking good at what they do. So quite simply, you need to pick what you're focusing on. And my recommendation for you would definitely be to have a focus for your business, your life, and your mindset, personal development. So pick those focus areas. You might have a different goal that you're working towards, and then break it down and think about, what are my 1% actions, i.e., what are the needle movers? What should I be doing every single day and working towards being better every single day in each of those areas? For example, for your beauty business, it might be that you need to grow your audience. So every single day, what are the 1% tasks that you could be doing? And you do one sort of task a day. You can change it up throughout the week. It might be that you're in the DMs with people every day. It might be that you are following people every single day. It might be that you are posting into your local groups every single day. Maybe it's that you need more income and you're working on filling slots or selling retail or packages. So maybe you're focusing on those every day. Maybe you're selling on your stories every day. I think you should. Maybe that you need to track your income every day for the business. And I think you should. Maybe not every day. Maybe it's that you need to be tracking the monthly figures, i.e. average client spends, most popular services, how much things are actually making you, i.e. profit, keeping a track of what you're spending each month. Is it that you need to sit down and have a review every single Sunday night? All of these little things are 1% actions, and they will compound over time if you continuously, consistently do these things. And then all you've got to do is repeat them. That's the next step. It's picking those 1% and sticking to them and actually repeating them and creating habits for them. And I know that there's so many different opinions on forming habits. I know that there's this myth about 21 days to form a habit. I wouldn't suggest you do that. I would suggest that you stick to these 1% and changing them each day, but reviewing them each week and actually sticking to certain 1% actions for 90 days. Seriously going for this for a couple of months and seeing the results. It will probably shock you. If you could get really focused on some of these things and you think about being really specific, i.e. if I'm going to be on social media growing my audience, I'm going to spend 20 minutes a day. That's a 1% action, but it's very specific. And then I'm going to be doing that two times a week. And then the other 1% actions are different. They're going to be on different days of the week. I'm going to be doing the selling on my stories every day, and I'm going to make it really specific. When you can do that over a certain amount of time, i.e. the 3 months, you will see big shifts. And it doesn't matter if you miss a day. You're going to miss a day. And what will have to happen is you'll have to get back on track. And what I would suggest, and I encourage you to do, when you fall off track with anything like this, ask yourself why. What is it that's made you fall off track? What did you not enjoy about it? What was it that distracted you? Was there somebody else involved? Did your time have to be split? Are you a mum like me and actually you've tried to pile a little bit too much on, and maybe we need to draw back a little bit and get a little bit more laser focused on what you really should be working on instead of giving yourself too many tasks? And then once you sort of know why you've fallen off, then get back on. A, don't be too hard on yourself, and B, don't let it pass by and jump back on without figuring out why you fell off in the first place. That is really key to being able to get back on and not fall off again, and to be able to put in sort of things and systems in place to be able to crack on and not feel like it's such a struggle. The other thing I would say is please track what you're doing. So do this in a planner or a diary or digitally. Track everything, journal every day, figure out how you're feeling and stay on top of it. And then I'd also say to stay among people that love this stuff and that support you with this stuff, because accountability is huge, and support and having somebody that actually understands why you really want to focus on getting better and doing these things and reaching your goals and growing is so key. And I know what it's like to have people around you that don't do that. So it's so important because it can really change your mood, your energy, and everything about the results that you receive. And if you do want an accountability place, if you do want support, then the membership is very, very good, if I do say so myself, for that. The 4-Figure Focus is literally built for the 1%. That is where you would be surrounded by women building beauty businesses that want 4-figure weeks in part-time hours, because they are focusing on building consistent action plans for their life and for their business. So you could absolutely get in there if you feel like you need that support and you want my strategies and my methodologies on growing your beauty business. That is there for you. The details are in the show notes. But for me personally, I love being focused on the small 1% habits. Whichever way around I look at it, whether I think about my habit stacking, I've done another episode on that in here, whether I look at it as 1%, whether I look at it as growing and tracking my business, whatever way around I look at it, I just want to be that person that's always focused on getting a bit better every single day. So I love to track what I do. Sometimes it feels hard. Sometimes I feel like giving up too. I'm not perfect, but I work on focusing on my energy. And if I can raise my vibration and do things that give me energy, like recording these podcasts that fill me up, then I always can stay on track and try to improve and be better and better over time. So I think that's what you need to do. I think it's worked for me. It works for my clients. If you want to talk about it, slide into my DMs. If you're not following me on Instagram, follow me. Message me. I'm here for it if you want to chat about it. And yeah, I'm living proof that this type of thing really does get you to where you want to be. I love my life, my business. I'm so lucky to be able to call this work. Working in this industry, I love anyway. And then growing from beauty business owner into beauty business coach and speaker has been incredible for me. And it's the 1% habits that have truly gotten me here. It's those things, the needle movers, the income producing activities, all of that combined is what has got me there. So if you've loved this episode, if this hits home for you, please share it. Please share it far and wide. I think this is a really important one. I think this is a really important topic to talk about, and it can have a massive impact on your life and business. So please pop it on your stories and tag me. I want to see who's listening. And if you've got any thoughts on it, I want to know so that I can improve this podcast for you. And if you tag me, I'll always reshare and say thank you, because I am truly, truly grateful. You can also support the podcast. It's in the show notes to do so. It's almost like buying me a coffee. Greatly appreciated. Love you, love you. And the other thing you can do if you can't support the pod is leave a review. That would literally make my day. I love seeing your thoughts. I'd be really happy, of course, if it was a 5-star. But of course, please leave us a review, follow the pod, share the pod. It helps me get this out to more people that need it. And that is what this whole thing is all about. The whole point is to help as many people as possible to become the 1%. That is where I'll leave it today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights that will help you in your beauty business and life. If you did, please take a screenshot and tag me in your stories. If you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me on any of my socials. The links are always in the descriptions. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us improve and bring you more and more great content. Until next time, keep building that business.